So there's a lot of these types of issues that are occurring, and we want to let people know that we are educating away extremism. We've launched a campaign after the San Bernardino shooting called the True Islam and the Extremists campaign. And this is a series of 11 points which extremists will take to brainwash the youth. But we say that Islam's true teachings about these 11 points are this. And so we invite people to go to trueislam.com and see those 11 points. And we've had nearly 5,000 people from across America, Muslims and non-Muslims, who have signed on and endorsed this campaign as a show of solidarity and to let people know that this is a grassroots effort, and the only way we can really curb out extremism is by education on a grassroots level. 60% of Americans don't know a Muslim. There's an even higher number who have never visited a mosque or even picked up a Quran. You know, people are invited to visit muslimsforpeace.org and order a free Quran with English translation and see for themselves what's being taken out of context, what's being cherry-picked, and what does the Quran really say. You know, there's nothing in the Quran for any type of this, any attack like we saw Sunday morning. There's no precedent in Islamic or Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's life, to kill people like this or even attack. Additionally, this is the holy month of Ramadan, and we are not even allowed to argue with others, let alone kill or attack people. So this is in complete contravention of what Islam teaches. What it shows is that there's a failure of Muslim leadership. There's been political elements that have come into Islam, which is not what Islam is about. There is corruption with Islamic leadership, and as a result, the morality of the religion has been usurped, which is why leadership matters. His Holiness, the Khalifa of Islam, Mirza Masroor Ahmad, Mirza Masroor Ahmad, speaks around the world. He has members in the tens of millions all across the world in over 200 nations. He talks about the path to peace is through just relations with individuals and between nations. And this is something that we have practiced here in America since 1920. You know, we're the oldest and the largest Muslim organization here.
What's the name of the organization?
Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA.
What is your name?
Salam Bati. I serve as the national spokesperson for the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA.
Do you have a phone number?
Yes, area code 717-608-3837.
And did your organization have any contact with this guy at all?
No.
Now, how are the Ahmadiyyans viewed by the Sunnis, say Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the Caliph of the Islamic State? So we have two caliphs, your caliph and him.
Right.
Who's the right caliph?
Well, that's for God to judge. And that's what each individual should be looking towards. What rests best in their heart? When you see how al-Baghdadi is practicing Islam, and you look at what Islam actually teaches, you'll see two different things. But when you look at the Khalifa of Islam, His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad, and you see what Islam teaches, you'll see the same thing. And I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want you to go out and research yourself and see, what is this Khalifa
I
about?
actually have done that and found that Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi from the Sunni tradition is more in line with the doctrinal teachings of Quranic Islam, of the Sunnah and the Hadith, than the Ahmadiyyans.
Okay.
And many others have found that also, which is why there's a rift in Islam between the Sunnis, the Shia, and the Ahmadiyyans. But they seem to be holding a much more accurate, much more doctrinally inclined interpretation of Islam, which results in these jihad attacks.
So there is nothing within Islam or within Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's precedent that allows for what ISIS is doing. And I challenge anybody to read biographies of the Prophet Muhammad and see how he acted with people and see his example, and how what ISIS is doing is not conducive to spreading Islam in any type of society. You know, Islam is a religion about winning people's hearts. You know, throwing people off buildings, beheading people, stoning women. You don't win hearts that way.
Well, where do those behaviors come from?
From corruption, from egos, from pride. And this is why there is a corruption in Islamic leadership that has led to a decay of morals within Muslims. This is why leadership matters. And that is where His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad is here to show people what true Islam is.
Okay. Any questions?
Thanks, man.
Do you disagree with the
But I can't say that.
I don't want to seem like I'm attacking you. There's a bunch of hadiths and a bunch of, from Muslims to everybody else who actually say that you must kill Muslims, and they're taking it out of the word of Muhammad's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that differ from from all the hadiths and everything? So I don't want to say I'm attacking you.
Right.
We see this conflict
Right.
between Islamic scholars and some of the Ahmadiyyan community. Who's right?
So the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, who we believe to be the Messiah and the reformer of Islam, came especially for this, specifically for this, because there is that corruption within the education of Muslims.
So you're saying those hadiths are corrupt?
So when there is a hadith, or a saying of Prophet Muhammad, that is in contradiction to what the Quran says, then we do not see those hadith as valid, because the hadith it's a chain of narrations that aren't as reliable as the Quran is. Because you can look at a Quran from today versus the one of 1400 years ago, it's the exact same. So since the Quran has nothing in there of saying throw gay people off roofs or kill homosexuals, then we can say that these hadith are weak, if not entirely invalid.
So are you saying Muhammad approved of homosexuality?
Each religion has theological issues in which they believe to be right and wrong. When it comes to issues that we're facing today with homosexuality and other things, it's never about using violence to practice these teachings. These teachings can be done through peaceful ways.
Well, what do you think that they have actually taken? We can say Muhammad doesn't agree with homosexuality, correct?
Right, in Islam.
And so you're saying these people on the other side have taken it and turned it into death sentences.
Right.
Why is that? Because they're taking the hadiths, or what do you think? It's leadership or what?
It's a slow decay. And it starts with usurping the rights of one people, and it ends up ultimately usurping the rights of all. There's the quote of saying, first they came for the Jews and I didn't do anything. Then they came for the Christians and I didn't do anything. Then they came for me and there was nobody left to help me. And we're seeing the exact same thing happening within the Islamic leadership. They've taken away the rights of a certain class of minorities, and it ends up stemming away to all other people as well.
Which leadership in particular, can you name names? Who?
Of
The leadership that is leading this corruption.
corruption. Abu Bakr AlBaghdadi, leaders of the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, are doing that.
Now, in the Quran, it says that if you follow the people of Lot, you should be killed. The people of Lot, meaning gays, homosexuals, of that lifestyle. So the Quran does actually call for the killing of gays and homosexuals. The argument's been made by counterterrorism experts that the followers of the Islamic State are simply following the Quran as written and following the practice and life of Muhammad.
So the Quran does not say to go out and kill homosexuals for being homosexual, and I challenge all viewers to get a Quran themselves, and they can go to muslimsforpeace.org.
Does not exist?
The verse about Lot is something that everybody can research through muslimsforpeace.org and get a free Quran with English translation.
Yeah. Are you saying, are you defying the word of Allah as written, as transmitted to the Archangel Gabriel and put into the Quran regarding the verse about Lot?
Tell me the whole verse.
I would have to pull it up. I was
Exactly.
expecting to have this conversation.
Exactly.
But you know that it's there because you're asking for the verse.
And that's the root of these attacks, because then the Hadith take that and have an argument over the type of killing, not the fact of killing. So, and you guys, the Ahmadiyyans, are trying to sort through all that. It's a tough job.
Tough stuff, yeah.
A lot of people.
We're not disagreeing with
No,
you.
I thank you for asking these questions. A lot of people will conflate the Bible with the Quran. In Leviticus it says, stone the homosexuals. In Islam, we do the exact opposite. We revere all human life as sacred. The Quran says that the killing of an innocent is like the killing of all mankind, and the saving of an innocent is like the saving of all mankind. So that's what Islam is about.
Now that's verse 532. Can you tell me what verse 533 says?
You tell me.
535 verse 533 states that you would cut off the arms and legs and crucify those who defy Islam and cut those limbs off from opposite sides. Now, you obviously know this because you have 532 memorized. Why are you trying to question me about 533 rather than educating me in...
Yeah, how would you interpret 530?
So in Islam, the only type of battles that we can engage in are self-defensive battles. So when it comes to that verse, it's talking about transgressors. So people who are attacking you, God has given Muslims the right to attack back, and self-defense is common sense.
Can you tell me what 533 is? The verse?
Yeah,
you read it. You mentioned transgressors, so I know that you know the verse.
Yes.
Can you repeat it?
I don't have the whole thing memorized verbatim. Yeah.
Can you just give me a general?
I mean, I can pull it up for you if you want. Yeah.
And also, verse 532 says it's for the children of Israel. That's what that verse is meant for.
Right. So
That's
it's
the Jews.
in Islam is a part of a religious evolution that has started since Prophet Adam. And so the beautiful teachings of other religions are also a part of Islam as well.
What you're looking at, what's your opinion of Zuni Jasser? You know him?
Dr. Zuni Jasser.
Dr. Zuni
Trying
Jasser.
to do what you're doing to reform Islam.
Uh-huh. 1 second here.
Full verses of
Painted a sun and an
Yeah. By the end of this, you guys are going to be darker than me.
Me, baby. I'm already there.
Yeah, I have Arab blood in me anyway.
I get secondary screenings like.
He's 18% there.
Y'all got enough sunscreen?
Yeah. What did you think of Hassan Shibli when he got secondary screening, saying to tell the CBP, the Customs Border Patrol, tell him, I will tell you. What was the quote?
Do you know Hassan Shibli?
I don't know that person, no. What was the verse you wanted?
533.
533. Prescribed for the children of Israel, let's be killing for the person. Then we have
Peace with the Ahmadiyas, that's a sect of Islam.
the only reward of those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger. So it comes down to the transgressors, those who are waging war. And it's very clear and explicit that if you are attacking Muslims, then Muslims have a right to self-defense.
You're more as a self-defense type.
Yes. There is no war that Prophet Muhammad ever engaged in that was an offensive type of war.